A very good morning to everyone. It's a lovely day out here in Pune today. And as life comes back to normal, we at IIEBM are ready again to cash all the opportunities that this day would bring to us. On behalf of the Institute, I welcome you to yet another day of IIEBM's original direct-to-home web series, Hands-on, Plugs on, Minds on. My name is Mridul Nagpal, a proud alumni from the class of 2004-2006, your host and moderator for this to-be thrilling session. Today is a very special day for me as I got this opportunity to introduce and interact with a very eminent personality from the industry. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome Mr. Rajiv Mitra.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sir, do I have your permission to begin?
Yes, please. By all means.
Thank you so much. My dear students, Mr. Rajiv is a successful business leader, a commentator on social and economic affairs, esteemed member and office bearer of several industry bodies. He is the honorary board member at IIEBM and other postgraduate institutes, MSMEs, and startup companies. What's even more interesting to know about him is he is a keen mentor to students and variety of professionals from the industry. Mr. Rajiv is currently the Chief Executive Officer and Director at Prabhat Dairy, which is the part of world's largest dairy company and named Lactalis of France. Prior to his current role, he has held several senior level positions with the RPG Group, Reliance Group, and Bharti Airtel. He's a postgraduate in economics and obtained his master's degree in marketing. He's a voracious reader, a movie goer, a golfer, and a sports lover, and whatnot. Sir, you might want to say hello to our students across India and give your opening remarks.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, IIEBM, Dr. Jai Singh, Mridul, Arpit, thank you for having me on your show today. And it's always very interesting and very exciting to talk to students and the budding professional managers. As we go through this session of Tete-a-Tete with you, Mridul, I think you will bring out more of me and we will get going with it. Thank you.
Sure, sir. So as you said, sir, the format of today's session is more like a chat show. It is going to be a dialogue more than a monologue, where the students and I get this opportunity to ask our most important questions to you. I'll begin on your behalf, students, and you can start posting your questions on the chat window. So I'll be all set, right? Yes, so that we can begin the session.
I'm set. You can shoot.
All right, sir. As we start receiving response from our students, we are getting started here now. Okay, so my first question to you is, and actually I was myself very curious to know about it on the career journey that you had all these years. If that could be your opening remark for our students as an opening session.
All right, as you introduced, well, thank you for that. I'm a economics postgraduate. I've done MBA marketing. I picked up a job with the RPG Group straight off campus. I was in IT and office automation sales. And then I moved from east to west. I started my career in Calcutta. I moved to Pune and Mumbai. And then from RPG, I moved to Reliance, to Bharti Airtel. And then about 6 years back, I moved to the food industry. So I have a mix of retail, FMCG, telecom, and food industry experience, having worked in all parts of India, east, west, north, and south, and having had some stints abroad. So this is currently, as you said, I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Prabhat Dairy, which is one of India's largest dairy companies, part of Lactalis, which is world's largest dairy company, having its presence in over 150 countries.
Sure, sir. Now, certainly, so the career sounds pretty exciting and very interesting because you've traveled across the globe, and within India also you've experienced various segments and demographics. Now, certainly from a sales and marketing background, handling the channel would have been no easy for all this while. That would have also got some gray on your head, right?
Yeah, the gray is because of the lockdown. Otherwise, I color my hair.
Sure, sir. All right. So, important question from my side again. Once you are up the pyramid in your career as a chief executive officer, is it really thorny out there, or is it a cakewalk?
No, it is not thorny. It is very exciting. It is very exciting. See, cakewalk or no, I don't know, but I look forward to hitting my desk every day, taking on my job by its horns every day, and I find it extremely exciting to be at the helm of affairs than any time before. It's interesting, exciting. One should look forward to coming out the ladder and taking hold of things. So it's very, very exciting to be here. Nothing, no thorn. Cakewalk, I don't know. Things cannot be so easy, because if things are easy, then it's not exciting.
All right. So balancing on one leg is a daily affair, or you think people management sometimes becomes easier?
See, if your foundation is right, then you balance it well. If you have done all the right things, if you have been guided well enough through your academic career and then your professional career, then balancing is not one of the hardest tasks that I do. As I said, it's exciting, and all exciting jobs will have its pros and cons, pluses and minuses. So if I do put all on a weighing scale, I have more pluses on this job than minuses, and it's very, very exciting. I wouldn't comment on it being hard or easy, because job is a job, and it's life. Sometimes it gets hard and sometimes it gets easy, but the excitement goes on. It's very, very interesting to be heading a company, and that too in a very, very dynamic segment like the dairy and food.
Yes, it is indeed. But so what does it take to get there?
It takes you take the right decisions. You are at the right time, in the right place, and with right set of people. You're guided well. I can tell you, it's the job is done by people. The job is not done by the CV. So if the foundation is right, if you are the right person for the job, if you have the confidence backed by learning and experience, you can do this job. Any one of us who are connected on this show, I can tell you, it is very, very possible that in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, you will all be heading companies.
Sure, sir. With your guidance and true blessings, I'm sure the new batch of 20 and 22 would be walking that path as guided by you. So we already have plenty of questions coming in the chat window, and I'll stop asking my personal questions and I'll move to the students' questions. One of the students from Guwahati is asking a question that, so what was your idea while choosing the sector? It's really different, and as you can see that there are a lot of dynamics around selecting one as well.
See, now during this time of crisis, you will see agriculture, dairying is what is sustaining the economy. So this is a very, very sustainable sector. In India, this is still amongst the most important sectors that the country has ever had. And this is, we are feeding the country. We are providing for livelihoods of the farmers, who are the pillars of the economy. And from the farmer to the consumer, the value chain is what we maintain. So things cannot get more interesting than this. And this sector adds maximum value to the economy still. And this has been proved during the last 3 months of COVID crisis, that it is agriculture that is sustaining the economy. So this is a no-brainer. Though while I know there are lots of choices, There are plenty of other sectors to go for, and all are good. All have their contributions to make. But choice of agriculture, being a city-bred man, was actually not a very difficult choice. This is dairy is one of the pillars of the economy, the largest employer in India still.
Certainly. Yes, sir. There are more questions around that, why business of a choice of dairy and food, why not other sector? And as you correctly said, agriculture, farming, food supplies, milk supplies, and medical equipments are some of those industries that were up and running in those pandemic situations. Now the industry has opened up a bit, so construction is coming up. But then, as you correctly said, these three sectors were big time support to the nation.
Yes.
Right, sir. So what has been your inspiration?
See, there are plenty of inspirations. One can draw. Inspiration is, your parents inspire when you are a kid. Then in school and in college, you have professors and teachers who inspire. And then when you start working, you have people around you, your peers, your bosses, your subordinates who inspire. But what is most important is, you bring happiness to the farmer and value to the consumer. Okay, if you are contributing to that value chain where the producer is happy because he has produced something and he has been able to bring it to the consumer with some value, the consumer gets value out of it. I find this is a very big inspiration to be in this field and to continue this journey.
Certainly, sir. So any role model that you followed?
Yeah, that's right. We'll come to those role models later. Those are like, school book questions.
Okay,
let's see if you sift through your list and see if there are some more intelligent questions that the students are asking. Role model, I'll answer anyways.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. So what are your priorities as a company right now?
See, this is a lockdown stage, this is a crisis stage. So with the advent of the crisis, we had made out very, very clear priorities, and they are our priorities still. One is safety and security of people. No compromise on safety and security, like social distancing, sanitization of offices and vehicles and premises, keeping isolation facilities ready should they be required. So safety of people, no compromise at all. Number two, continuity of business. This pandemic, this adversity will go. We have no doubt about it. This adversity will go. But life will go on. Business will go on. So there has to be continuity of business. The continuity of the chain from farmer to the consumer cannot be broken. And we must ensure as an organization that it continues. The farmer's livelihood continues. The production value chain continues. The logistics continues despite all the difficulties that we may have had. The logistics continues. And the consumer continues to get milk and milk products as she desires, as she wants, because this is a consumer staple. This is an essential commodity. Okay.
Yes.
So cheese has to reach the consumer. Paneer has to reach the consumer. All your sweets and delicacies, whatever, life has to move on. So two, business continuity, and three, availability to our customers. Our customers depend on us. Be it a half-liter pouch of milk at your doorstep in the morning, or be it the cheese that you take on your pizza, or let's say there are pharma companies, baby food manufacturing, infant food manufacturing companies. They require ingredients for their produce, so they depend on us. So that we have to respect, that dependency and availability to consumers. So to sum up, our priorities that was there when the Prime Minister announced the lockdown, and it still continues, and going forward, I hope it will continue for a very, very long time. That is safety and security of our people, continuity of business, and three, availability to our consumers.
Sure. Thank you, sir. So Lactalis is the world's largest dairy brand organization. How do you respond to Honorable Prime Minister's call on vocal for local?
Mridul, good. Thank you. Good question. Thank you for asking. We are local. We are the largest. We are the largest dairy company in the world, which means we are local in all parts of the world. What we are a multinational company. What is a multinational company? A multinational company is a local company in so many countries, in all the countries that we operate in. Okay. Now come to India. Okay, in India, we procure 25 lakh liters of milk every day. 25 lakh liters of milk every day from 400,000 farmers. 4
Mhm.
lakh farmers, approximately 4 lakh farmers give us 25 lakh liters of milk every day. Now, who are these farmers? These are local farmers, Indian farmers, whose livelihoods we support by procuring that much milk. And then we have 14 factories in 7 Indian states. Who do we employ? We employ about 10,000, approximately 10,000 people. 10,000 people are in direct employment. Are these not local people? They are all Indian people. Who do we serve? We serve the Indian consumer. So we are a local company registered in India under Indian laws, procuring, sourcing raw material in India, employing Indians, paying taxes in India, and serving the Indian consumers. I support vocal for local, but can anything be more vocal for local than we are? We
Right.
are a local company in many countries, India included, and that is what an MNC is supposed to be. When somebody in London drinks a cup of Tata tea, you are proud that
Mhm.
Tata is a local company in England. When somebody in Kenya, in Nairobi, calls from an Airtel connection, you are proud that an Indian company is local in Nairobi. When somebody in San Francisco uses Infosys software, you become proud that that's a Indian multinational company who is serving the American consumers. So similarly, local is you your global experience is brought to use of local community. That is local for vocal for local. It is not a call for isolation. It is a call for benefiting the local community with global expertise. And we are vocal for local, the heartbeats for India.
Mhm. Certainly, sir. Very passionate, sir. Uh, your perspective on the current economic scenario, the sooner we resume, the better it is for us.
Yes,
The more the value chain is going to start operating back to normal.
of course, it is. We have to restart our economic activity, but at the same time, we have to contain the disease. As we restart, we open up, the numbers are not slowing down, numbers are growing. So we got to contain the disease through vaccine, through immunity, through whatever. I mean, that has also to be a priority as much as opening up is.
Mhm.
We have several, there have been, I'm told, about 1.2, I think 12 crores 12 crore job losses we have to provide. We have to have a provision to resuscitate
Mhm.
those people who have lost jobs. Some of them are casual laborers,
Mhm.
casual workers in several segments, be it real estate, be it retail, be it manufacturing. People have lost jobs, and so we have to look after them. We have to see that the essential commodities are supplies of essential commodities are sustained to
Mhm.
the population, to the people, and the revival of the economy. So all these things have to be done: opening up, containment of disease, revival of economy, looking after people who are left nowhere to go, who are left to fend for themselves. So all of these things are very, very crucial at this stage.
Right, and that can only happen when people break that shell of coming out of their houses. So they need to come back to the offices, right? Right.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
there is another perspective that's going on, or appeal that's going on to the nation of economic distancing with our neighbor called China.
Hmm.
What's your view on that? So, do you think that's going to be of any help to us? Will India gain from their losses?
What is China's loss? What is it going on? You want to delete some apps? You want to throw your Chinese-made mobile phones? Do it by all means if you are feeling patriotic about it. Is it going to help? You delete some Chinese apps, I can tell you, China will not even come to know. So first of all, who is the enemy? Is virus the enemy or is China the enemy? First, you ascertain that. Once you have ascertained that, you will be in a better position to know what to fight. You fight the virus first, or you delete some apps first. Be my guest, do whatever you want to do. But what you choose to do now will have a very, very long-term effect. You know what is China's contribution to the world of manufacturing? China contributes $4 trillion, $4 trillion to the manufacturing map of the world, which is larger than India's economy, larger than US's contribution to manufacturing. So go ahead, delete some apps. Okay, and how much you take out of that 4 trillion is what you have to ascertain. So do I mean to say that we will not attract industries that move out of China? We should, and you and I will be very happy if everybody walks out of China and comes to India. It's going to happen very soon. I have some doubts. China is the first man standing now. You know what I mean by that? The disease came to China first. So that was a big disadvantage. That was an advantage to all other countries. They had time to learn, to know from China that what is it and how to cope with it. So there was a time to learn. On the other side of it, while on the recovery path, China has the advantage over everybody else because China seemingly, apparently, if I were to believe all of China's figures, is recovering first ahead of anybody else. The entire Europe is struggling, US is struggling, India is struggling. Some of the Southeast Asian countries are struggling, but China is the first man standing, which is a big advantage. Okay. So number three, it is not wise to think of China as a low-cost labor supplier. It is no longer a low-cost labor supplier. The number of science and technology graduates that China produces is the largest in the world. The number of articles that Chinese authors publish on science and technology subjects in very, very esteemed and peer-reviewed journals is the highest in the world. So it will be a long way for us to be able to attract everybody that moves out of China. And even before that, why should everybody move out of China? I mean, it is a wishful. We will be very happy. We'll feel very patriotic about us. But let us put facts on the table. You and I will be very happy. And one day it might happen. It might happen that everybody moves out of China and they come to India. It might happen. And I look forward to that day. But I don't think that is going to happen just as a result of this pandemic.
But sir, the question here was that, okay, so once again, we follow the patriotic approach of avoiding Chinese brands, maybe the lightings over Diwali or some of the apps and etc., some of the clothing brands. But is India ready to take care of the local demand?
See, India's economy, the Indian economy over the last 30 years, 1999, 1991, March 1991, our foreign exchange reserves was $5 billion. Today, our foreign exchange reserve is $500 billion. It's a consumer-driven economy. It's a demand-driven economy. So we have come a long way in catering to the demands, internal demands of the country. There may be some gaps, but that is where we focus on. We get manufacturing done here, be it MNCs or be it Ambani's or Adani's, be it Indian corporates or be it global companies, because all big Indian companies are also global companies. They operate elsewhere in the world. The same happens if Jack Ma, who is a Chinese just by chance, or maybe let's say Lakshmi Mittal, who operates out of London, he's an Indian. So there are Indian global companies, there are global companies that originated elsewhere in the world. So all of them, if India becomes a manufacturing hub, which we have started some years back, we have started this process. So the local demand should be met. Like in milk, in dairy, we meet the entire demand. Indians drink milk. It is all met locally. We don't import, neither do we export. So The question is not whether we are ready to meet the local demand. The question is we have to meet the local demand.
Yes. So the dollar currently trading at about 75, and if the exports from India also inch up, I think that's going to put some ease out on the currency as well, right?
Yes.
Certainly.
That's right.
Sorry, you were saying something?
No. Please carry on. Please go ahead.
So moving on to the softer side of the business right now, which is people, which is 90% business for all of us. Questions in many minds right now that does an employee need to be a little different post this scenario? 2.5 months have gone. We were operating at X amount of skills. And now with sanitization, what additional skills would you expect from your own employees at Prabhat Dairy?
See, what happened during this lockdown is we got used to so much of, connectivity, technology. I am at home now. For the last 60 days, I am mostly operating out of home through Skype or through, if I name some of these telecommunication apps, then some Chinese will come up and some American will come up. But so be it. The consumer has to go for efficient connectivity. So I don't know the country of origin of these apps, but I go for the most efficient one. And if India can produce the most efficient one, the consumer will go for it. But now coming back to your question, we are more efficient now. I can tell you, there is no travel, there is no fatigue, and I can work 12 hours a day sitting on my table at home through this on this laptop as I'm talking to you. Yes. I have been to your college so many times to deliver lectures, but this is the first time I'm doing it online. So this is a very, very big learning that we don't need to take all the trouble, all the hassle of going here and there, of roughing it out, and then achieving results. We can achieve results otherwise also. So what has happened is I can clearly see an enhancement in productivity of people in the last 60 days. So which I think is a learning, and which we should carry on. And then coming to some other learnings, it is not only about employees or about people in my company or some other company. Another learning as a nation, as a community is, we have to invest in social infrastructure. There is no compromise on social infrastructure. If we don't invest in health, if we don't invest in education, then we will not be able to survive this kind of crisis. We will not be able to pursue all the potential that we have. So which is a big learning for me. Social infrastructure is key, and that has to be a priority with the state, that is the government, and also the private enterprises, and also a combination of the two.
Certainly. Sir, another question that's coming from the audience. Audience has started writing a lot of questions now. So I think I should take a couple of questions from there as well. So your perspective on the placements that happens in India. Do you see a rise? Do you see it's going to be moderate post-COVID scenario? So sorry for this, but all the questions right now revolve around the same subject. So sometimes
let it be, and please remember to ask on the inspiration also. I've not ruled it out. I just said, we'll come to those kind of questions later. So please ask me on the inspiration before we go. To remember to ask me. And now you're talking of placements. You see, I don't see why one should be too worried about placements or education just because of this pandemic. This is an event that has happened. Yes, this is an event of its kind, which we have never seen before. But education is an investment, as I said. Okay. And when do our financial advisors advise us to invest in the market? When the market is down, so that there is an opportunity to grow. So here is a chance to invest yourself, to invest in educating yourself when the market is possibly down. So you do that investment now.
Absolutely.
I am not talking out of any scientific research or any data-based research. I'm only saying because of this crisis of 3 months or maybe another 3 months that it may go on, I don't see that why one should be too worried about whether there will be an impact on placement, how much percentage it will go down or go up. I don't see those as concerns at all. You just invest in your education. And possibly this is the best time to invest in education because the market is down. So this is the time for investment. When Sensex goes down, people advise us to put money in the market because there is a chance that Sensex will go up because it has already been there. So now if you're down, I think it is the right time to enter. So don't worry about placements. Placement, I don't know placement figures. Your college will track those figures. What percentage was it last year? What percentage will it be this year? Not everything is a game of percentages. This is a good time to invest in yourself, in your education.
Absolutely. There was a leading question to this, sir, very much. And I also personally got a lot of calls in the lockdown period for friends who was younger brothers and younger sisters or relatives. They wanted to come down to Pune for education, for management studies in particular. Particularly, they were asking a feedback to us that should this be a year of dropout and I should continue studying at home through online series and sessions? So they were in two minds, basically.
No. So what is the question? Yes, you are saying they're in two minds. So what is the question?
They're in two minds. So the question is that should they be focusing on dropping out this year and doing their studies back home, or should they step out and join an institute?
See, I have not, things may change, but till now, I have not hired anybody who doesn't have a college education and studied at home. I have not hired anybody. There may be people who have done it, or I may do it in the future. So I don't know what will you gain by not coming to Pune to college and studying at home. If there is any gain you can foresee, which I don't see, then you can do it. As I said, if somebody says, sir, I've never been to college and I have studied all this at home and I am a great scholar. I mean, must be true, but I have not hired anybody, any person like that. And I know that Rabindranath Tagore was one of them. But let us all ask ourselves that shall we put our money, shall we bet on the fact that we will be Tagore one day? So if you are not putting your money behind that, if you are not betting on that, better go to school.
Certainly. Well said, sir. A classic example you took of home education, but then gone are those days when people used to do that. Very particular question that has come in again, sir. Hospitality industry. I'm using this industry. But parallelly, I would also say that there was a time when business was done with a lot of personal touch. We would give that personal touch to a customer, to my own employees, right? Now, with this situation, particularly in hospitality industry, how do you think things shaping and changing the era of hospitality?
Okay, see, hospitality, I'm a user. I'm not a provider. So from a user's perspective, I can see, I use a lot of hotel chains, I use a lot of airlines, and they keep sending me emails about what is happening, what they're doing. And everywhere I see huge dependence on technology, causing, creating huge efficiencies and conveniences for the consumer. Okay, the efficiencies are resulting in increased income for the industry, which is good news. So I see in all industries, hospitality included, huge dependence on technology. Even before COVID, I always used to think that the checking system at the airports that you have, from entry to boarding, it can be in a totally different way. It can be, for the frequent flyers, it can be done in a totally different way, and you don't have to scan and check every passenger, physically, and you don't have to let them go through the trouble. For both sides, it's a cost for the airlines, and it's an inconvenience for the commuter. So that can be done in a totally different way, and it could be a startup opportunity. Some investments can go there. So I see dependence of technology bringing convenience for the user of hospitality and bringing more bottom line for the providers of hospitality.
Certainly, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, indeed, a room for opportunity for all of us. As you said, startups are going to come up big time, and for us to be able to effectively run the economy, we need more people coming out and giving their contribution to the bit.
And please, have a heart, and please be hopeful of the fact that there will be a lot of opportunities coming up. There will be a lot of intelligent investments that will happen. There will be a lot of growth avenues that will come up in front of us. It's a crisis, and it's a very good crisis.
Yes.
And as Sir Winston Churchill said, never waste a good crisis. And there could be some admirers of Churchill who will follow what he said.
Right, sir. So I am myself in operating in hydraulics. My major business goes into agriculture, and trust me, I'm already seeing a spike in demand coming from all the agricultural OEMs. The only shortage that we're facing right now is manpower. The part is available, manufacturing setup is ready. What we don't have is people and the right skilled manpower, right? Now, demand is going to go up because the pipeline has already dried with the dealers and whatnot. It's the Rabi crop harvesting season, and people are looking for agricultural equipments like tractors and harvesters, etc., etc. Now, looking at the demand spike happening, we've already seen the early trends of it. Now, over the next 6 months, somebody said 2021 is going to be one of its kind year for all of us, as the economy is going to see the best of its performance in the year 2021. So one of the students has asked this question very particularly, that by the time I'm done with my studies, economy would already be doing better. What should I be doing extra from a skills perspective to start coming in to the industry and contributing? So you as a CEO of an organization, what are those specific skills that you look out from a fresher? And that too, a management professional who is a fresher.
From a fresher, we want values. We want the right set of values. Skills we give. I don't expect you to come from a management school with all the skills that I need. I really don't expect. I expect values. And what are they? Are you keen learner? Are you eager to learn? Okay. Are you eager to give your best? Do you have integrity and honesty, basic integrity and honesty that is required? Are you a team person? Okay, because when I hire, I don't hire for a position. I hire for a roadmap. Because when I hire a boy or a girl from management school, it is not that I am hiring a management trainee for 2 years and I don't have anything for her or him after 2 years. We hire for a roadmap. So what I see in that person is not what he or she is today, how skilled he or she is today, but how skilled and resourceful he or she can be in the next 5 years or 10 years. That is what I see. So I'm not too worried about that what skill what C++ or COBOL that you learn, that will be obsolete anyways, because these are the languages I knew. C++, I don't know even if they are used these days. So I'm saying, so the skills, they become obsolete. See, the point is, it is not always who that I hire. Okay, it is what for that I hire. Okay, if let's say how does a company become great? I'm taking an example of an industry that is not me. Say ITC. Okay, ITC. So the point is, I'm rephrasing what I said just now. I hire a who. Okay, I hire the person. I don't hire the person for the job. Okay, for the job is redundant for me. I hire a who. So let us take ITC. If ITC hires somebody to sell cigarettes, let's say ITC has hired somebody to sell cigarettes, and that somebody is very good at selling cigarettes. Now suddenly there is a campaign against smoking, and people realize that it is not good for health. Okay, and there are big pictures on cigarette packets, and cigarette consumption goes down. So what happens to ITC? What does ITC do with that person that you hired to sell cigarettes? So ITC diversifies into hotels, into agriculture, into various other things, and ITC should be able to find that person who was selling cigarettes suitable to sell hotels, suitable to sell agriculture. So that is what I mean by hiring a who and not necessarily for what. For what is the skill that has to be given by me. Regulations will change, environment will change. COVID will bring about a lot of changes which will require new skills which we never learned in school. So am I a magnet for skills? That is what I look for. So what does it take to be a magnet for skills? Basic set of values. That is what I recommend. Don't be too worried about acquiring this skill and that skill.
Right, sir. So this precisely answers the following question as well, which I wanted to ask, but I'll say my question in any which ways. 15 years ago, the hiring strategy versus the hiring strategy that's happening today, where you also touched briefly upon saying that I am not hiring just for the position. I'm hiring for you as a person, for who you would be responsible for helping me accomplish my own goals as an organization, right? So the hiring strategy has changed over the past 15 years, isn't it?
Must be, since you are saying must be. Yeah, you're right.
Because there was a time when people were just hiring for the position. Now you're hiring with the right skills and especially with the right ethics and values in an employee, rather than the technology that you would know more than anything else.
Yes, you're right.
So certainly, sir. So your organization also have a peculiar organization structure where you have an HR person, you have a sales person, you have a person who is handling your distribution channel as well. Does your
Yes, that's right. Yeah, see, an organization will have to be structured the way it is. There can be some changes. Somebody can be flatter, somebody can be more hierarchical. We have to see what works best for us in a given environment, in a given industry, in a given time, and in our culture. We have to see what works best. But there has to be a science behind it, no doubt. You can't just say, okay, I mean, we'll come in the morning and see how we structure and what we do. We have to that structure is a discipline which you import upon yourself, and you have to know what works best for you. So which is right.
Right, sir. So your career span has been largely through marketing and selling and distribution management. Has that been the case?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
So a lot of students who aspire to get into marketing, sales, and channel management, what would be your high-level tips to them?
Tips to be successful, I would say, because sorry, see, marketing, sales, or production, or HR, or finance, these are routes to general management. Ultimately, if you aspire to be a CEO, if you aspire to be a general manager, then you are into a general management position where you are managing all these disciplines yourself. Okay, so I only had one thing, which is a faculty I have, and it has worked for me, and I will urge everybody to have this. Any stream whatsoever is to have a curious mind. Just have a mind that is super curious. Have a curious mind and never be bored with curiosity.
Sure.
Try new things, and more so in marketing. There are insights available everywhere. There are insights available. Sorry. So, and since you have asked a question for marketing aspirants, I would say have a curious mind. Be adaptable. That Darwin's law of survival of fittest, okay, is an extremely important thing in all our lives. Okay, in marketing, in say my kind of industry or FMCG or the industry that you are in, you have to be as comfortable and confident when walking the streets of, let's say, Lakhimpur as much as London. So in a dusty Indian village in Kanpur, near Kanpur, or somewhere in the south or north or east, you have to be as comfortable there as much as you will be in a Bombay or Calcutta or London or Paris. So adaptability, adjustments, you have to survive. The fittest will survive. So you have to be the fittest and have a very, very curious mind that is what has worked for me.
Certainly, sir. So, sir, that brings me to the final segment of couple of questions. One of certainly would that be again on your inspiration that moved you throughout your career. So, would you
Yes.
like to throw some light on that?
See, inspiration-wise, initially my father was a very big, he has been a very big inspiration for me. I learned a lot from him. Very, very, he's no more, but very, very, well informed. He knew everything from Amitabh Bachchan to, let's say, the Rohingyas of Burma to the problem in Syria to Sri Lanka. And everything, I learned a lot from him, literature, science, politics, economics, everything. So that was a very big inspiration for me. I'm a movie person. Amitabh Bachchan has been a very big inspiration, Clint Eastwood and Al Pacino. And thereafter, when I started working, I have worked under fantastic bosses. So some of them have been great inspiration. Tagore's writings have been a big inspiration for me. So plenty of inspiration. I mean, just have a curious mind.
Certainly.
You can get inspired by anything and anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very inspired by a movie called Sholay. I don't know if you know of Sholay. You were not born when that movie was made. So I'm very, very inspired by The Magnificent Seven, by The Godfather.
Yes.
By so many things, and I'm a Netflix junkie, so I get inspired by so many series that I see these days. Even Patal Lok, watch it; it's very good.
Indeed, indeed. All right, sir. So my last question to you, because I know you have a 12 o'clock commitment. So your final message to our budding managers to the class of 2020 and 2022, and your final words on the institute, sir.
Yeah, the final. I mean, I would say that if there are thoughts about this pandemic which will lead you to study at home, maybe a good idea for some. But I would say go to school. It creates a bit of a discipline in you. It is a kind of a hassle that you go through, and you season yourself. And last about 70 days we all are at home. Do you like it really? So I would say go to school. You all are people who all are connected, tuned in today. I would say they all are competent individuals,
Mm-hmm.
and that is why they are connected to this webinar. They are competent individuals. School will make you a team player, will make you aspire to be an executive, a leader. So you will get aspiration. You will be challenged by your peers, which is quite useful. So during this course of discussion with you, Mridul, I have a feeling that there is a bit of a reluctance for people to go to school. I think that is absolutely unfounded. So please come out of it. Some of you may do very well educating yourself at home, but most of you will not.
Certainly. So meeting people will only sharpen your brain and expose you to more and more environment.
Yes, okay.
Final words on the college. You've been to the institute. Do you know something again?
I think I have known Colonel Marwa and Dr. Jai Singh for a very, very long time, and they will remember me coming to the college. I think we have just done 20 years. So for the last 20 years, I am associated, and I'm very happy that you invited me for this chat today. And thank you for the opportunity that you have given me. So it's a great institute, and great people are associated with this institute, and there are students like you. I can see you are a fantastic, a brilliant boy. So I see a good future for the institute, and I see a good future for all those who will be associated, who will get an opportunity to study here. So all the best to all of you. My good wishes.
Sure, sir. So the pleasure is all ours, and you giving us time, it's an honor. I really enjoyed talking to you. Your questions were very deep. It had deep meaning. They were very soothing. It comforted me a lot, to be honest with you. And you were very genuine in expressing your journey to the head of the organization. So with folded hands, thank you so much for coming here today. IIEBM wishes you good health and good life, sir. Looking forward to see you in person.
Thank you very much, Mridul, and all the best to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.